So today I'm just going to be covering the improvements or the new features that we've created for logchief Lite from version 1.2.3.1 through to our newest version 1.2.4. Many of these new features, they've come directly from user feedback with the aim of making logging faster, reducing those repetitive tasks, and just improving the overall usability. Okay, so I'm just going to jump straight in. So starting from version 1.2.3.1, new feature that we added here was cell contents will automatically get highlighted when you select the cell. So when you click on a cell, it's automatically going to highlight those cell contents. Previously, it wouldn't do that, and you would have to do a couple more steps to edit the contents of that cell. Okay, so now it highlights. If you do need the cursor to move through the letters, you can just use the left or right arrows. Okay, and even when you tab to a cell, it will have that highlighted. So if you do need to make quick edits, users can quickly do that. Okay, another feature that we introduced in 1.2.3.1 was the ability for users to type in codes rather than being forced to select from the drop-down. So in previous versions, before 1.2.3.1, you were forced to type and then select the respective code from the drop-down. However, in this 1.2.3.1 version, we have allowed users to just type directly in lowercase. And so they don't have to wait for that drop-down to load to be able to record their codes. Previously, because you had to select a code from the drop-down, some of these drop-downs were taking about 2 or 3 seconds to load. Obviously, when you log in quite a lot of intervals, that time does add up. So being able to just type in and tab across, especially for users who know these codes off by heart, it will increase their logging speeds. Okay, with this instant code entry, we are aware that some of our clients are using this data for third-party softwares. Our database is not case sensitive, so even though you were recording these codes in lowercase, they were being uploaded to the database in lowercase as well. But because the database is not case sensitive, you were still able to query that code just the same. In version 1.2.4, from user feedback, what we've done is when you enter a code in lowercase, so I'll enter lowercase tl, lowercase b. When you save the row now, these codes are going to automatically transform to what they are in the library table. So you'll notice when I save this row, those have automatically transferred to uppercase because that's what it is recorded as in the library tables. Okay. Next feature is the new row placement. So users can choose if they want their new row positioned at the top of the grid or at the bottom of the grid. Very easy to do this. Just go to the main menu, settings, preference, and there's this option here called new row position. And I've got mine set to the top. Click on that slider and your new row will be positioned at the bottom of the grid. Okay, another new feature that we included in 1.2.3.1 is the ability to create a new row after you tab past the last cell. Okay, so I'll just tab past there. It will automatically create a new row. And so users will be able to create new rows quite naturally once they've finished logging at the end of their row. Okay, just save that one. If you're wondering which version I'm using currently, this is version 1.2.4. I will show you the new features of this version shortly. Okay, another thing we added in 1.2.3.1 was the backup config and import backup config functions. So clicking on this will automatically download a JSON file, which includes all your log data. By default, it will download to the device's downloads folder. However, if you want to change this file location, you can do that in your browser settings. We've also included functionality for users who are unable to log in at the time and might still need to fetch their log data from the device. If that's the case, we've included this function where if you click on the logchief Lite text on the login screen 3 times, it will automatically create one of those backup files as well. Okay, so we found it quite useful for users who are logging offline. Let's say 2 users are logging offline. The first user logs his data, shift ends, and the second user needs to log on and potentially continue where the first one left off. If they are using different Windows logins, it does mean that they won't share the same browser cache, so they won't be able to see the same log data. If that's the case, then a great workaround would be the first geo creates a backup file, stores that in a shared folder location. They can then log off. The second geo can then log in on the same device, and even though he's not sharing the same browser cache and seeing the same data, he's able to import that backup config file and continue where the previous geo left off, all whilst offline. Okay, in the new version 1.2.4.0, what we've included is a timed auto backup feature. So every 60 minutes while the application is open, it will automatically create one of these backup files. If you would like to increase or decrease the time between these backups, all you'll need to do is request that from MaxGeo, and we'll be able to do that on our end. Okay. So the timed auto backup feature is a new feature for 1.2.4.0. Another new one from this version is our user configurable defaults. So each tab and each template will have this user configuration button as well as a preset dropdown. So each user can create their own new presets, and it's for them to quickly apply default values across their columns. So let me create a new one. Very easy, just need to create a name. Okay, so each user is able to create these per table, per template, and it's assigned to a username. So even if the user jumps onto another device, they'll still be able to access their presets. Okay, and each preset, you can change the column orders by clicking and dragging those 6 white dots on the end. If an admin user has assigned an alias to any of the columns that will be visible here, users will not be able to edit this. It's just for their reference. And each user can assign default values to the columns. Just as an example, let me just add a couple in. Okay. And we've also inserted this column width column, so users can adjust their own column widths and have that saved to their preset. Okay, so any changes made must be saved. If I apply the preset, it will apply my own column orders, my column widths, and each new row that I create will then apply those defaults that I had set out. Okay. Okay, so users will be able to quickly assign defaults for each new row that they create. We have created a new table in the database called Lite user config, and that is where all the mapping for these user configurations are stored. Okay. Right, let me head to the Manage Templates page. Okay, here's where the alias column has been included. So you can assign any alias to any one of your columns per table, per template, and these will apply to the logging grids. So very useful if you're using different column names or users are used to different names, and also quite useful for users who might be using a different language. Okay, we've also included the column width column. Edits to this column do not apply directly to the main layout. They will only apply to the column width column in the user configurations page. Okay. With these column widths, what we've done is they are coming from the database. So a lot of them are too small or too large for logchief Lite. So what we've done is we've put a lower limit of 50. So any column width below 50 will automatically go to 50 width. And we've got an upper limit of 500. So anything above that will get lowered to 500, just so that it fits correctly within the grid. Anything lower than 50 users, it's going to be too difficult for them to see. Okay. A new inclusion for our production clients. We've now created this feature called the Shift Manager. So instead, or in the previous versions, you had to first download your shifts. Good. Okay, but now in this new version, we've actually created the Shift Manager. So you can create these shifts or shift date codes, which we use as the parent records to log the data. You can now create those directly in logchief Lite, even whilst offline. Okay, so you can select a shift date range. I'm just going to choose tomorrow's date. A shift, supervisor, crew, and there's also space for shift notes and handover notes. I can create that shift, and I can use this as my parent record to log against the available production tables in the mining activities template. Okay. We've also improved the mapping when downloading from the collar plan table. When you are downloading from this table, if there is survey data in it, survey and coordinate data, it will be distributed in logchief Lite to the respective tables. So MDS 466 clients, your collar information or coordinate information will get downloaded to your downhole collar table in logchief Lite. For MDS 500 clients, if you have recorded coordinate data in the collar plan table, when you download it, that data will also get distributed to the downhole coordinates table. Okay, and we've also done a couple of fixes to some of the fields which had defaults previously, such as hole status. Okay, one of my favorite features that we've included here is the auto default of the parent record. So each time you enter a template, it will automatically default to the last parent record selected. So previously you would have to select it each time you re-enter the template. But now if you exit, come back in, it will automatically populate with the last one used. Okay, we've also improved the tabbing in a row with existing data. Previously, if you edited a cell and then tabbed across, it would go out of edit mode, which means a user would have to use the mouse and select each cell that they would have to edit. Now, if you have made a change, it will automatically save and go to the next cell. I can also continue tabbing across the row without any problems. Okay, we've also improved the case sensitivity in regards to the hierarchical logging. So previously, if you were to record, let's say, the drill contractor in lowercase, and if you had hierarchical logging applied to between drill contractor and rig, if you recorded this in lowercase, it wouldn't pick that up in the hierarchy. So you'd actually have no values available for the rig dropdown. In this one, however, we have applied that and fixed it, so it does work with hierarchical logging now. Okay, and again, when I save this row, it will automatically adjust to make it match whatever's been recorded in the library table. Okay, that's majority of the features. If you do want to get some more material on those features and see which fixes we've also included in this new release, please go visit our knowledge base, have a look at the release notes as well as the new user guide for version 1.2.4. Yeah, so these features, I mean, overall, they were intended to improve speed, reduce those repetitive tasks, and also make logchief Lite more intuitive to use. Okay, some of these features we included seem quite small, but together I think that they significantly will streamline that everyday logging and potentially reduce more data entry errors. These features are also driven from feedback from users, and so we'll continue to refine logchief Lite and make logging as efficient as possible. I understand many of you are still waiting for version 1.2.4.0. Thank you very much for your patience. We just wanted to ensure that we release a stable, working as expected version. We will be deploying to all our cloud and cloud admin clients this new version next week. Please keep an eye out for the update notification. This version will require a cache clear due to that new table that we've included in the database. So you will get a notification once we deploy to your database, and just telling the users that they must clear their browser cache to receive the full update. Okay. Before you clear the browser cache, please ensure you've either uploaded the data, backed up, or created exports. Okay. The future development that we have planned for the next round, that will include form view logging. For those of you who have used logchief before, we plan to make it quite similar to that. And we'll also include functionality for logchief Lite to handle face and linear tables. So that's what we have for the next round of development. Okay. Right, that includes majority of the features from version 1231 to 124. Again, if you'd like more information on it, please go visit our knowledge base. Have a look at the release notes as well as the user guide. And if you have any questions or concerns, please just get a hold of me or anyone from MaxGeo. Okay, I think we can open the floor for questions now. Okay, I'm just having a look at the bottom one. From Andre, in a scenario where multiple geologists are logging the same hole, there appears to be no way for them to share and continue working on the same log. Okay. Yes, so in this scenario, you would most likely need to use the backup config file. If they are logging on different devices, they can still log on the same hole. They'll have no issue uploading at the end of the day. Only if they are logging on the same table and may have potentially logged a few overlapping intervals, then they'll get an exception error, or the last one to upload will get an exception error. But yeah, if they're using the same device and they have different Windows logins, then they'll need to create that backup file, save that in a shared location, and then when the second geo logs in, you can fetch that file from the shared location, import that backup file, and you can continue where the previous geo left off. Okay. There are a bunch of fixes as well. I'm not going to be covering the fixes in this session, but if you do want to see all the fixes that have been included, please go have a look at the release notes. The copy row shortcut has been fixed, so you will be able to use Alt-C to copy the last row. Sorry, yes, Alt-C, and it will copy over whatever records from that last row. If you do need to copy a row that's not the last row, just right click on it and say copy record. Okay, if users are using tablets, they'll just need to, I think, hold down on the interval, hold their finger down on the interval, and they'll be able to copy the record just the same. Okay, release to on-prem clients, yes. So once we have deployed to our cloud and cloud admin clients starting on Monday, 3rd of August, the version will be available for all our on-prem clients as well. Okay, is there a way of sharing presets? Technically, yes. So it's just a matter of going into SQL Server Management Studio and editing that LG Lite user config table. Within there, each username will be assigned to that specific preset. If you want to share it with another user, what you can do is just copy those couple of rows in that table, change the username to the person you want to apply it to, and then just paste it back into that same table. Okay. Any plans to extend more point data capture in the future, i.e. water samples? We haven't had anything planned yet, but yes, this is something we do plan to improve, our point templates, and as well as, also our production templates. Yeah, I think we can have a discussion after this around the requirements to that. Thanks, Luke. Okay, any more questions. Okay, one more. Okay, can you stop a planned survey from being included in download from planned collar? Not currently. So if you do have that, survey, the survey fields, dip and ASI, recorded in the collar plan table, when you download it into logchief Lite, that will be distributed to your survey table. That is possibly something we can improve on in future developments. But currently, if it is included in the collar plan table, when you download it, it will be distributed to the download survey table. Okay, right. I think that's it for questions. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining. I hope you've learned a thing or two, and I hope you are excited for the new release of 1240. Yeah, I hope to improve and keep everything working smoothly. Right, have a good day. Thank you, everyone, for joining.